Hello, I'm Joe Lagrippo, president of Q30 Television, alongside Kay Owolabi, running for vice president of SGA. Kay, how are you?
Great, thank you for having me.
Thanks so much. So obviously we're going to get to know a little bit more about you. So give us a little background as to when and why you joined Student Government Association.
Yeah, so I ran my freshman year. Sophia Marshall, our former president, she was my orientation leader. And the way she talked about the organization and how they made a difference and how kind of a tight-knit family they were really drew me in. So I ran as an international senator my first year, and then I re-ran for my second year and now serve as a sophomore senator.
So this year, as you would go into this next semester, what are some of the big issues that you want to touch on in this position?
Yeah, so I feel like, well, the vice president role is, student advocacy. That's kind of what the main focus on. And I feel like students don't feel comfortable coming to us as SGA representatives, which is not okay because we're here for you guys, the students. And I feel like student-SGA relationship needs to be changed. And I feel like we need to do more to kind of outreach and be involved in the community to really get a sense of what the student wants. So that's one, student SGA relationship. I also feel like SGA relationship with other student organizations need to be changed. I feel like our current Vice President for Inclusion, Jeremy Gustafson, has done a great job at kind of leading us toward that direction with all the co-sponsorship he does, kind of getting to know other orgs and being more involved with the rest of the orgs in the community. So that's second. I also feel like student communication with administration is something that needs to be fixed, and that's one of our main jobs, is to help student voices reach administration. And I feel like this year it just hasn't been happening, and we've seen a lot of issues where students are frustrated with not getting answers from administration, and that's where we come in to help. And I feel like with the restructure of the organization and the new role kind of that the VP is now taking on with organizing more town halls, I feel like we're going to get a better chance to fix this, because we're going to have more town halls, we're going to have more student, faculty, and administration interaction. And finally, I think SGA also needs to change internally. I feel like, as you see now, like the retention rate is bad. We don't have enough people running for the organization. And running for the organization is extremely important because we need those voices for the students. So I feel like changing SGA internally is something that needs to be addressed.
So I know you touched on it a little bit about kind of students feeling more comfortable approaching SGA, coming to SGA with questions, because you guys run the student experience in a way. So how would you kind of plan on making students feel more comfortable and hearing more about you and your platforms?
So I feel like, first of all, each individual senator, each individual person within SGA needs to take accountability and needs to take kind of initiative in reaching out. Whether it's in your clubs, whether it's in your classes, or just walking up to students in the cafeteria and ask, hey, like, what do you want to see? And I feel like we all do that when we're running elections. We, go out, we're interacting, but it can't stop there. We need to be continuously asking and learning what the students really want. And I feel like also kind of making SGA seem more welcoming. I feel like students may be intimidated to walk into the suite and, it's filled with SGA members, but we don't want you to be intimidated. We want you to come in and knock on our offices and come in and say, hey, I don't like this and this needs to be changed. And I feel like something that we did this year was called Suite Treats, where we have treats in the suite and people come in and they can submit ideas. And we've got wonderful ideas from people coming in. So I think definitely more things like that.
Obviously, you have past experience in SGA. What's some of the biggest lessons that you've learned within the past few years that you would kind of bring into this vice president position next year?
Biggest lesson, I feel like something that I've learned is that, how do I word this? There's always like a different angle. I feel like we come in, we have these certain ideas, and we want to do this, but talking and interacting with other SGA members and other people kind of make you see things in a different light, if that makes sense. So I feel like the biggest lesson is just to listen to what others have to hear, because you learn so much, and that's something that I've definitely learned during my time in SGA. I've had the opportunity to sit on 3 different committees, what was previously known as the Student Experience Committee, which is now Inclusion Committee, Student Advocacy Committee, and Finance Committee. So with that, I feel like I've heard so many different perspectives from different parts of the organization, and kind of learned that there's always different angles, always different ways to look at things.
Now, at the end of your term, what's the one main thing that you want students to remember you by?
I want students to remember me for being there for them, for advocating for them. That's what I want to be remembered by. I want to be remembered for being a leader and being the voice for them.
All right, Kay. Anything else you want to add before we end this?
Mostly just my platform is, like I said, it's about you guys, the students. One of the things I want to lead SGA is towards more inclusive, diverse, and community-based initiatives. I feel like, and so that's something that we need to do. Like we've all heard administration, they talk about all these different buildings, how they're going to build this and build that, which is great, but in none of those building plans have we seen any plans about expanding or adding more inclusive spaces. For example, we have the Multicultural Suite, which is a great space, safe space for people to go in there. But what about the LGBTQIA plus community? I think, like, why isn't there a lounge or a suite for that community being included in these building plans, So I think that's kind of what I aim to do in my, if I get elected.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kay, for your time. To learn more about SGA and the elections coming up, the candidate town hall will be at 9:15 p.m. in the Piazza this Monday. To stay up to date on the SGA elections, follow us at Q30 News on Twitter.